I didn't get any applause. We are finally seeing less than 500 new cases of COVID-19 here in Arizona. Yay! Okay. So because of that, our numbers are staying low, less than 500 for maybe more than 3 weeks now, right? Continue doing hand hygiene and wearing your mask and keeping maintaining a social distance with your friends. So Arizona, we're doing a great job. So keep it up. But don't forget, of course, to keep hydrated and stay safe out there. The meteorological summer is over, but summer has not officially ended, and it's not until September 22. So I'm looking forward for the fall, because even if we didn't have a lot of rain and haboobs this year, I think one good thing from wearing the mask is it's gonna help us prevent getting sick besides COVID. It will also help us protect ourselves from what's the other illness that you can get from the soil. It's valley fever. So when the wind is blowing, we can inhale those fungus from the soil, and you can get valley fever. So I guess you can think it that way, that the mask is also helping us not get valley fever. And did you know that the Filipinos are more prone to get valley fever? So, but anyway, I'm thinking of doing a story on valley fever and how it affects the Filipinos, because there's a study that shows Filipinos are more prone to getting valley fever. And since we're talking about masks, we will have our mask off, face off live interviews with two passionate party advocates here in Arizona. And we will find out how red or blue they are with our fast and furious round. But first, let me introduce to you my guest co-host. Okay, you saw her earlier at the beginning of our show. Are we seeing Christina's Instagram photos wherein she has thousands of followers? I'm one of them. This girl has a lot of IG followers, and like what I've said, I'm one of them. She is the director of business development for a reputable and esteemed law office in the Valley that specializes in personal injury cases, KLG. She is also the co-owner of City Vodka, a new vodka line. Her background includes, but not limited to, property management, real estate, and entrepreneurship. She is a proud mother of 3 and a passionate resident of Phoenix, Arizona. You'll see her a lot in fundraising events for various causes and volunteers her time wherever and whenever she's needed to make a difference. I am proud to introduce my gorgeous co-host today, who was on cover of FMagazine. Let's all welcome Miss Christina Laguna.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Christina. Welcome to FMagazine.
Get your video ready.
Yeah.
But before we introduce our guests, Iman, Asturco, and Fleur went around to ask Arizonians who they're rooting for. Let's watch the video.
Hi, this is Jess Johnson, and I'm voting for Joe Biden because it's just for a change. I'm sick of Trump's behavior, attitude, and I don't want a badass president anymore. That's it.
Hello, I'm Chef Kata, and this is my favorite event. I work at Kalpar, and we're here at Great Wolf Lodge in Scottsdale. I'm voting for Trump because I love everything that he did for our country. Ang dami niyang naitulong. Kaya pagbigyan na natin, okay? Bigyan pa natin ng one chance. Alright, see you at Great 12!
Hi everyone, this is Erica.
Hi.
Kathy.
Rosa.
Rosa is my business partner. We own a construction company. And Kathy is our client, but she's also
A businesswoman.
a
A pastor. A lawyer. And way more than that.
And we believe in Joe Biden
We do.
because he's going to build back better and he's going to bring back ethics
Oh,
and the
yes.
soul of America.
Definitely.
right. So vote for Joe Biden. We're voting for Joe Biden.
And all our
Business
friends
women.
are.
Yeah, we believe in women in business, and Joe Biden believes in that too.
Amen.
Bye.
My name is Jonah, and I'm one of the frontliners, and I work in a big facility in a big community. And for me, for this coming election, I would like to vote President Trump still. Well, for a fact that he has done so much a lot of the country, and I think we have to give him another chance, another 4 years, to extend more the things that he does for the United States. And as a health worker, I think he also extended some more help and do his platform all about about the health issues in the country. And I think he deserves another chance. That's all. Thank you.
I'm voting for Biden because we need a leader who actually cares about other people, has integrity, and isn't a racist. 200,000 Americans dead over something that we could have stopped. And yet, here we are. Piss poor leadership.
Let's go to our guest speaker. Kevin Dang and his family migrated to the United States in 1989 when he was 10 years old. He received his pharmacy doctorate degree from the University of Connecticut School of Pharmacy in 2003 and earned his Master's of Business Administration degree from Grand Canyon University in 2017. Kevin and his family moved to Phoenix, Arizona in 2007 and is currently working as a pharmacy director at Dignity Health Arizona General Hospital and an adjunct faculty at Grand Canyon University College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Kevin is currently serving on the Arizona State Board of Pharmacy and Arizona State Board of Physician Assistant. He's also an Annie Awardee in 2019 and the current Arizona Asian Coalition Chair. Let's welcome Mr. Kevin Dang.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Kevin. How are you tonight?
Hi, Fleur. I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for bearing with us. We're having so much trouble with our technical.
No,
and
that's understandable.
yeah.
Dan Ballecer, born and raised in Phoenix, is one of two sons of Filipino immigrants. Growing up in a family of medical professionals, Dan took the unconventional step of studying and practicing law. He is a graduate of Santa Clara University, BS Political Science, 1991, and the University of San Diego School of Law, JD, 1994. After practicing a Phoenix assistant city prosecutor for 2.5 years, Dan, along with his law partner, Natalie Siegel, started their own firm, Ballecer and Siegel, in March 1998, where they both continue to practice today. For the last 22 years, Dan's practice has been limited to criminal defense in all courts across the state of Arizona, as well as family-based and removal defense immigration cases. Dan has argued before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and has represented clients before USCIS and immigration courts in several states throughout the US, including Arizona, California, Louisiana, and Florida. Let's give attorney Dan Ballecer a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you. The purpose of this interview is for both of you to share, and I just want to clarify again, not to debate. Share your insights and perspectives on what's going on in the US as far as the 2020 presidential election is concerned, with the intent to help our viewers, including me and Christina, make that informed decisions to vote wisely in less than 60 days. Actually, it's 55 days to be exact today. Trump or Biden?
Here's our first question. Since Fleur talked the pandemic, let's go to Trump's COVID response. The US to date has over 6.5 million cases of the coronavirus and close to 195,000 Americans dead. How do you feel about that, Dan?
Well, the fact that the US has 25% of the world's deaths in COVID and only 4% of the world's population, I think kind of speaks for itself. The COVID response from this administration, sadly, has been sorely lacking. As it came out in today's news in Bob Woodward's book, they have Trump on tape in February saying he understands that it's an airborne disease. He understands that it's a deadly disease, that it's worse than the flu, but he wanted to play it down. He didn't want to cause people to panic. He said similar words to the public back in March when he said he wanted to be a cheerleader. That's not what the president of the United States is supposed to do. You don't want to go to your doctor and your doctor to tell you that everything is fine and he won't give you any kind of treatment. You want your doctor to be honest. If it's going to be hard treatment, if that's going to save your life, then that's what you do. The president had some very hard choices to make back in February, and unfortunately he did not do it. And right now we're looking at 193,000 dead, going to be 200,000 dead here in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Dan. What about you, Kevin? What can you say about the president's response to this pandemic?
I personally think President Trump did a very good job in terms of responding to the pandemic. And here are the reasons why I'm saying that. He did ban the travelers coming from China way back in earlier this year. He did address the traveling between Europe and America. And he also, don't forget, during way back in November, December timeframe of 2019, he had numerous times wanted to send CDC staff to Wuhan to learn about these viruses. He came on to the national TV and said that Chinese government wouldn't allow US CDC workers to go into Wuhan to learn about the viruses. So from that standpoint, we have to respond based on the information that we know. When the information given to us is limited, well then we just have to do whatever information we're given. Another thing that I want to point out is that there are articles on the news and articles on the newspaper, not only in Arizona, but nationwide, pointing out the facts that the Democrats are politicizing COVID. Okay, so in a sense, they're using COVID to turn it into, they're politicizing it. And we're still investigating hospitals that are incorrectly counting COVID death for whatever reason. We don't know. Is it for reimbursement or for other political reason? We don't know. My point to the viewers is that the number of COVID deaths, I can assure you, it is not 100% accurate. So the two key messages I want to send here are, number one, President Trump administration responded to the COVID pandemic based on the information that was given to his administration. Number two, the COVID, I can assure you that the COVID death is not 100% accurate. Having said that, I will leave it up to viewers to decide.
Okay, good points, both of you. So you think, after the election, the COVID pandemic will just go away?
Well, I am a healthcare professional, and COVID is a virus. Obviously, from the health and sciences perspective, it's not going to go away. It's still going to be around, but the political severity of it will be lessened. From the health perspective, you're going to see it's about the same. Maybe a little bit better now that more and more of us are understanding about the disease and understanding about the viruses. But I can assure you, I can assure all Americans that after the election, November election, when all the news media and the both sides, Republican and Democrat, the COVID topic will be slowly disappearing from the social media.
What about you, Dan? Do you think COVID will just disappear after the election?
No, absolutely not. Because whoever the next president is, whether it's Biden or whether it's Trump, people need to question the government's response to this COVID epidemic. They have to do it. They have to make noise. They have to criticize when criticism is due. They can't just sit silent and just trust that the government is going to do everything that it is supposed to be doing. And with regards to acting on the facts that they had at the time, the U.S. was one of the later countries as far as getting infected. I mean, it spread through Europe. It was spreading through China. No, this is not political. This is not political to me, anyways. I had COVID. And I was super lucky that mine was very mild. But politics is not what I think about when I think about this COVID response. What I think about this COVID response is a president who said he purposely played it down. That is not how you respond to a crisis. You do not respond to a crisis by playing it down. You do something about it. I just think about our healthcare workers who are in New York who were using garbage bags as PPE, or the fact that we couldn't find masks during the first couple of months, or hand sanitizer. Those are things that should have been done way earlier, drastic action way earlier. It wasn't. This is not political for me, not at all.
Okay, with that, Dan, how do you think the world view our country, the USA? Because of our COVID.
Well, I think when most of the world's countries are banning Americans from showing up, unless we have a business or a home in that particular country, I think that kind of says it all. And if I was another country, of course, I would be very concerned about letting Americans into my country, because America, this is COVID land, unfortunately, and it pains me to say that.
What do you have to say about that, Kevin? How does the world view the USA in response to what we did with our COVID?
I have to tell you that the world gonna see that it is so clear that COVID topic pop up during the election year. And I can assure you that many people around the world think that those who hate Trump gonna use the COVID pandemic as the tool to pull him down. Just case in point, who can explain to me the number of cases of COVID that are reported nationwide that are just that the numbers are not accurate? Why? What is the intent behind that? I'm not making this up. If you guys want to go on to Google, you can pull up many literatures out there that states the fact that the number of COVID cases and the number of COVID deaths are not accurate.
So that
Talk to me when it's accurate first. You know, we are scientists. If you're gonna use the data, let's use it wisely. Let's use accurate data. If the data is inaccurate, we can sit here and debate about this all night long, and guess what? At the end of the day, it's invalid. So that's all I want to say.
So Kevin, that said, do you think we're more divided than ever?
Again, now we're changing to, are we still talking about COVID, or we're talking about the rioters and everything?
Still COVID, as a
Okay.
result of COVID.
So COVID, the division of COVID is those of us who are supporting Trump, we think that, come on guys, especially me, I'm a healthcare professional. If you want to convince me that COVID is deadly, show me the data. I need concrete scientific data, not data that are made up by people for whatever reasons. To be honest, if you ask me to look at the data out there, I can tell you right now, in Arizona alone, the Arizona legislature is investigating the reporting of COVID cases too. So that's not only happening in Arizona, but throughout the whole country. So I'm all with you. I'm with all Americans. I am concerned about COVID. COVID, in fact, I work in the hospital. I've seen death resulted from COVID. So bottom line is, I think it's divided. They used the COVID number, they manipulated the COVID numbers to worsening the division between Trump supporter who think that President Trump did a decent job in terms of responding to COVID, and those who Trump haters, they think that, oh my God, the numbers are so high, Trump is not doing a good job. Bottom line is, two things I want to point out. Incorrect data. Number two, he has to do whatever he has based on the information given. Remember, you have to learn from these COVID, from the coronaviruses, from the lab, from Wuhan, where it originated. If you are not able to go into the source, where the source is, how are you going to learn about the characteristics of the viruses?
Thank you, Kevin. Dan, how about you? What's your thoughts on this? Do you think we're more divided?
I mean, yes. Yeah, clearly. Prior to COVID, and the almost 200,000 dead now here in the United States alone, and whether that's 200,000 or whether it's 190,000, I mean, that's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And nobody can tell me or convince me that any number of those is some kind of an acceptable figure. Of course, there's going to be an error, a plus or minus error margin. There's also a lot of studies that say that the COVID deaths are underreported. But the bottom line is that this COVID thing has been a lightning strike insofar as down the middle of the United States. And yes, it is dividing this country. And my problem with the way the Trump administration has handled this COVID response is simply based on what he did not do. Yes, he did do the travel bans, but what else did he do? Nothing. And he specifically didn't close. The first time I figured out that this COVID thing was actually really serious is when the NBA canceled their season, and then the NHL canceled their season, and then the college basketball tournament canceled. That's when it really became a big deal. But if you listen to the president who was saying that, one day it'll magically disappear. We have 15 cases. It's going down to 11. It'll be down to 0 here very soon. When you have somebody at the top who is saying that, then you're going to have a country, a very significant, substantial part of the country, including me, and I'm not a Trump supporter, believing it. And so we're not going to do anything that needed to be done to stem this. We're not going to social distance. We're not going to stop going to bars, going to public pools, doing all the social things that we all used to love to do. We're not going to start masking up. We're not going to do anything because we think that it's going to go away. And in Arizona, which is one of the hotspots of COVID around the world, and I would point out that Arizona has more COVID deaths, almost double the COVID deaths than the Philippines, despite having 1/5 of the population here. But in Arizona, we finally had the mask mandate, and we finally start taking this seriously in late June, early July, and we're now finally starting to see the benefits of it. And Trump is still president, and I'm still absolutely glad that we did that. I don't want my fellow Americans dying. And so this did not have to be as politically divided as it is, but it only became that so because of Trump.
Okay, then.
Remember, he claimed this was a Democrat hoax in the beginning. And so he's the one who politicized this. I'm just criticizing his response, that's all. And I would do it if Obama was president or Biden was the president. I don't care who the president was. If he acted exactly the same way as Trump, I would say the exact same things right now.
Okay, Dan, since let's do away with COVID for a moment. Since we're talking about division, what's your stand on Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. Okay. I have a unique perspective, I believe, on this issue as a former prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney for the last 22 years. So I've been in the criminal justice system. I'm friends with police officers. I'm friends with prosecutors. I'm friends with judges. All over. We all have a job to do. But I think we're all fooling ourselves if we try to tell ourselves that there is no racism in law enforcement, or no racism in the way that Black people in particular are being handled in arrest type situations. There seems to be way too much of a trigger finger when it comes to using deadly force against Blacks. Now, when President Trump was asked about that, he said, well, the police are killing white people too. And neither one is acceptable. If a police officer is arresting a suspect, he is not allowed to kill him. You do not get the death penalty for whatever they're doing. I mean, not from a police officer. There are certain procedures that they need to follow, but their use of force procedures just appear to be a little bit too quick on the trigger. So, yes, my African-American brothers and sisters who are in both parties, Democrat and Republican, seem to be getting a not fair share of the police brutality. Something has to be done about it, and we can't just ignore it.
What about you, Kevin?
Okay, so before I talk about BLM, I just want to point out something real quick about the COVID. I know that people didn't take it very seriously by wearing masks and all that, and they blame it on President Trump. But keep in mind, prior to the COVID pandemic that affected the U.S., we, including myself, we have been watching the news, and the news constantly show us messages coming from World Health Organization that this is not a huge issue. So keep in mind, it's all many Americans were relying on the news that are disseminated by World Health Organization, not just President Trump administration. We believe in the World Health Organization. They minimize the severity of it. Okay, so that's all. I just want to point that out. Now, BLM.
So before you go to that, Winnie Tan campus, before you answer the BLM, Trump is responsible. So is the local government overseeing their states as well as the individuals for protecting themselves. Right. So that's from Winnie. Go ahead with your BLM comment.
So BLM, Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. I am an immigrant. I revere Dr. Martin Luther King. I always tell myself and many of my friends and my kids that we would not have a life here in the US, all of us minorities, if it wasn't for the sacrifice that Dr. Martin Luther King has gone through. Having said that, I feel for my fellow Black friends, Black Americans. I have friends who are African Americans. Let's do this in an American way. Okay, I understand Black Lives Matter is important, but let's do this in a civilized, in a true American democratic way. What is that? If we don't like what we see, register to vote. voice our voices by exercising our voices, our civics duty. Show up at the poll, vote. Vote out the Republicans that you don't like. Vote out the Democrats that you don't like. But please, be considerate of other people's properties. They work hard for their properties. I hate the fact that many people take advantage of Black Lives supporters, and they just went around this country, cities and towns, and they burned up people's businesses, and they did so many looting and everything, so many damages. That's an image that hurt me. Why does it hurt me? Because this is our country, guys. This is America. Where is the democratic America that I was taught during grade school? Let's fully exercise our rights and vote out the leaders that you don't like. Vote out Trump. Everybody are innocent. Leave them alone. Leave the small business alone. That's my advice to those who are supporters of Black Lives Matter. So the answer is, I do support BLM. I do support Black Lives Matters. I think it's unfair that policemen kill or abuse their rights and end up leading to fatalities. That is a sad thing. But come on, guys, there's better ways that we can do. We're all Americans. Let's utilize the true democracy that we have taught in school.
Thank you, Dan and Kevin. Compelling points from both of you. We're going to take this time to acknowledge the following sponsors: Palm Valley Medical Spa, Abaca Foundation, SMDC, IFA, Community First Home Health Care, KLG, and Grace Home Health Care.
Thank you, Christina. Before you proceed to that, I just want to point out one of the viewers' comments. So any one of you can answer this. So they should peacefully protest. Oh, wait, they did. And our leader talked mad shirt to them. Then it's almost like they don't have a right to have a voice. That's actually from Vic Reed.
Yeah. I'd like to point out, and Kevin and I believe are completely on the same page. I don't think anybody on this panel, certainly, and I think most people in America don't support the looting and the destruction of businesses. That's a step too far. The problem is that, yes, we can vote, and unfortunately, too many of the people who are protesting probably didn't vote in the last election, probably won't even vote in this election. And that is a sad thing.
It is sad.
They should absolutely do that. But here's the thing. When Colin Kaepernick kneeled, during the national anthem, he was ostracized. He went from being a football player to, being not in the NFL like that. Now, he's doing okay. We don't have to cry for Colin Kaepernick. He got a nice contract from Nike, but he didn't know that at the time that he was kneeling. And he was decried by the people that, that this is not the way to protest. And then, of course, when they block roads, blocking traffic, not destroying anything, that's not the way to protest. Or during June and May, when a lot of these protests were happening at night, no, this is not the way to protest. So it seems like, and despite all that, there's still been some very strange, inexplicable killings since then, including just a few days ago with Jacob Lane. So I have to try to empathize with how an African American must feel, because I'm not an African American, neither is anybody here. There must be a feeling of helplessness. Now, it's easy for us to say, just go vote, but maybe something more has to be done. I'm not saying looting, I'm not saying destruction of business. I think we lose the message when they do that, but clearly, clearly there's a problem. And I mean, I wish they would vote. Maybe that would change the issue, but I don't think it would. I think in addition to having different leaders, we also need different local leaders. We need different police practices and training. I mean, it's a very complicated problem. And unfortunately, it's systemic at this point, and there has to be something done about it.
So, in your own capacity, I've seen Kevin Dang with the Arizona Asian Coalition did a car rally last Sunday. Do we have that? The car rally, yeah. Congratulations on that one, Kevin. You had about 150 cars who participated during the rally. What else are you doing, both of you, to promote Trump or Biden? Let's start with Kevin.
Okay, so before I answer that question, I just want to quickly respond to Dan's comment about voting. So I understand, Dan, that there are cases where people are upset, but they couldn't vote. I understand that. But do keep in mind, those who cannot vote, they can always write to their congressman. They can always write to their U.S. senator or U.S. congressman as a community. Let's say something happened. You as a neighborhood and your neighbors and your community members can gather together and write a letter expressing your anger or disappointment on any topics that happen in your town, in your city, or in your state to the U.S. congressman, to the U.S. senator. Do that first. And if they come back to you and they're just completely negligent of your request, then you have the excuse. But can't just, you can't vote, then voice your concern, voice your anger to the elected officials, because they are your representatives. They will help you. They have to help you address things that are bothering you within your neighborhood or within your city. So going back to your question about what do we do to support the President Trump's re-election. Guys, I want to point out that the Vietnamese community and other members from the Asian communities, last Sunday, we gathered a car rally. We hosted a car rally event in the East Valley region of Phoenix, and it was a great turnout. The message that we're trying to send out to the public, to the Arizonans here, and to many other Americans throughout the country is make sure you have to exercise your rights. That's it's all about. We believe that President Trump did a great job as a president. All of us who attended that car rally, we try our very best to communicate to the Arizonans and to Americans throughout the country that if you believe that President Trump did a great job, do something to express your belief. I urge Biden supporters to do the same thing in an American way. Express your feeling, express your belief. Okay, so that's what all we did. We want to set an example so everybody in the state and in the country do the same thing. If you believe Biden is going to be a good president, host a car rally. Do something that sends a message, a peaceful message to everyone in the country.
Thank you. What about you, Dan? What are you guys doing?
Well,
it seems like why? Well, I actually have a question. Why does it seem like the the Asian Democrats are more quiet?
I can only speak for myself as a Asian and right now a Democrat. I should be as active as Kevin, and I should be trying to convince others to be as active as Kevin. I should be writing more letters to our congressmen and women, our senators, our president. I should be doing these grassroots thing that Kevin does, and he makes us all proud to be an American that he is doing that. That's great. Unfortunately, I don't. The only thing that I've been doing other than spew stuff on Facebook, is just donating. And frankly, that's getting old too, because that turns out to be a lot of money after a while. But I should be doing more, and I'm not. And for this particular presidential round, I'm donating to Biden. I donated to Hillary, although I did so somewhat reluctantly. But with Biden, I feel comfortable voting for him. And yeah, I should be more active, but I'm not.
Very good. Wow, that was getting heated for a while over there. Christina, do you want to ask about mail-in voting?
Well, you guys ready? Who wants to go first?
Doesn't matter.
Are we gonna have the games, or
I can go first.
I thought you were going to talk about the F words, Fleur.
the F words? Let's go ahead and finish the mail-in voting. How do you guys feel about that? Are you fearful that there will be cheating? Go ahead, Kevin.
I can't speak for other states, but in Arizona, it has proven that the vote by mail methodology is effective. Could be because is heavily dominated. Arizona is a heavily Republican state. I don't know. Like I said, I can't speak for other states. But in Arizona, based on the facts, based on the data, I'm a science guy. I believe in data. So I have to give the mail-in, the vote by mail credit for its effectiveness. Okay, that's my answer to you.
Okay, thank you. What about you, Dan?
I'm an all voting matters kind of guy. Mail-in votes, certainly that's what I've been doing for the last, 20 years. That's certainly what I'm going to do this time. I'm also a fan of in-person voting. If you want to vote in person, go vote in person. Do it safely, and I assume that they're going to have social distancing and masks in there. So do it that way. If you want to fill out your mail-in ballot and drop it off at the polling place, do it that way as well. Any one of those methods, again, in Arizona, has proven to be good, and in no small part due to a good friend of mine who is the Maricopa County Recorder, Adrian Fontes, who's also running for re-election. He's done a great job, and I think he'll continue to do a great job. Our mail-in votes have not been. It has not been subject to any type of suspicion or any kind of widespread fraud that I know of. Certainly. Now nationwide, there hasn't really been much of a blip on that one either. If we're gonna stick to facts, mail-in votes or in-person votes, there has not been any kind of statistical or significant statistical difference with regards to fraud, which is a very rare thing. Electoral fraud is a very, very rare thing. So I guess to kind of put a cap on it, I'm a fan of all voting, so long as you do it once.
Fleur, should we touch on the school question, in person or online?
We only have like 6 minutes left.
Okay.
Let's go to the fun part of our interview, of our show today. Go ahead and do the game, Christina. And the viewers can also join us to check it for yourself. If you're a blue or a red, I'm yellow, because yellow is not mellow. Go ahead, Christina.
Fleur, so I'm gonna pick it up well, first of all, who's going first?
I did last time, so now it's Dan's turn.
Dan.
So yeah, Fleur, guide me on this, because I'm not very familiar with this Fast and the Furious stuff, but let's have some fun. So Dan, Trump's border wall, necessity or waste of taxpayers' money?
Waste.
It will be, you have to do it quick. Christina, you pick the first one.
Mail-in, okay, we've talked about this. Mail-in voting or in-person voting? Dan?
Oh, me, okay, both.
Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter?
Both.
On climate change.
Oh, wait, you cannot answer both. You have to weigh it. So let's go
All
back
right.
to mail-in voting and person voting, and then BLM versus ALM. You have to
Oh,
only pick
okay.
one. Okay.
All right. And so yeah, these are my views only. So mail-in voting,
Okay.
and then Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
On climate change, overhype or danger to our future?
Danger to our future.
Cops, needs reform or just okay the way they are?
Needs reform.
Schools, in person or online?
Right now, online.
Pro-life, pro-choice?
I'm pro-life.
Red or blue?
I'm purple, but right now I'm blue.
Melania or Stephanie?
Stephanie.
Trump or Biden?
Biden.
You miss one. Mask up or mask off?
Oh, I did miss that.
Mask up.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna tally your scores, and go ahead with Kevin.
Okay, Kevin, let's go. Mask off or mask up?
Mask up.
Trump's border wall, necessity or waste of taxpayers' money?
Necessity.
Mail-in voting or in-person voting?
In-person voting.
Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter?
All lives matter.
On climate change, overhype or danger to our future?
Overhype.
Cops, needs reform or just okay the way they are?
They're doing their job right now. They're doing a great job.
Schools, in person or online?
In person.
Pro-life, pro-choice?
Definitely pro-life. I'm surprised Dan picked that too.
Red or blue, Kevin?
I am red.
Melania or Stephanie?
Definitely Melania.
Trump or Biden?
Definitely Trump.
Oh my God.
Let's see the scores, you guys.
Kevin got a perfect score of 11 for being super red. And Dan, as he said, he's a little purple, but more on the blue today. He did get 10 out of 11. Very good, you guys. Yeah, big round of applause for you.
There we go.
Answering as honest as they could.
And here's our last question. You guys ready?
Yes.
Why should we re-elect President Trump, or why choose Biden? Please try to convince the viewers to vote for your candidate. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, so why should we vote President Trump? The main message I want to voice to Americans is, if anything, if you don't like Trump, if you just hate Trump, our country is going through so many things right now. COVID pandemic, and we have riotings and looting and everything that are going on. My message to all of you is, give President Trump a chance to fix the problem. All these problems just automatically attacked him all at once. Remember, guys, we're all human beings, okay? There's limitation that we're not God. We're humans. There are things that we can do, but with limitations. Therefore, I urge those of you who are Trump supporters, then I don't have to convince you, but those who are independent, President Trump has shown to, he's a businessman, and he has proven to many Americans that he can bring up the economy. He can create jobs. He brings everything. He makes America more stable from the financial standpoint. And then everything else, give him a chance. Give him a chance. I am confident that he will do a great job. But again, time is what he needs. So he needs 4 more years to get the problem fixed.
Dan, all you.
Trump. basically missed a hanging curveball with this COVID pandemic. If he took strong leadership back in February, back in March, and if we had the same results, at least similar results, not wildly disparate results that we've had here in the US compared to other countries, then you know what? He would be the most popular president right now. If he just did what he was supposed to do instead of trying to ignore the problem, we wouldn't have almost 200,000 dead. How many less dead would we have if back in February or March, he encouraged social distancing, if he encouraged masks? He did the opposite of encouraging both of those things. He discouraged them. He mocked people who use masks. He mocked people who use social distancing. And now he wants another chance. I have news for everybody. COVID is not just going away. COVID is not just going away. We need a president who's going to listen to experts, who is not going to think that he knows everything about every single thing, that he knows more about ISIS than the military generals, that he knows more about COVID or diseases than the CDC. We need somebody to be able to manage that and understand that there are certain, you have to delegate certain duties and obligations to other people. And if they give you advice, then you should probably take it, especially if it's from an expert. Now, his response to the COVID pandemic, to me, is disqualifying enough. But I wasn't a fan of his requesting Ukrainian investigation into a political rival. That sounds very undemocratic, very un-American to me. I wasn't a big fan of him allowing Russian interference in the 2016 election, something that has been verified by the Republican majority held Senate Intelligence Committee just very recently. So, but all that aside, what we have seen here with this president is a guy who apparently thinks he knows more than everybody else, and that his one concern through his first term of office has apparently been to get reelected, was to avoid making the tough choices so that he can get reelected. Now, the other part of the problem that I see with Trump is his absolute divisiveness. I don't think we've ever seen a president as divisive as this one. I don't think we've ever seen a president go to a State of the Union speech, shake hands with the vice president, the president of the Senate, and then completely ignore the outstretched hand of the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. I don't think we've ever seen that. I don't think we've ever seen a president who basically ignores all the problems in California because California is a Democrat state. At the end of the day, we are all Americans. I was born and raised in the United States. I love this country. I'm more American than I am Filipino or anything else. This is the country that I identify with. And guess what? I'm not going anywhere. Kevin's not going anywhere. We need to find a leader who is going to be able to reach out to both sides, work with everybody, not just say that he's some kind of dictator, some kind of emperor who can do things on his own, somebody who is going to be able to have bipartisanship. Bipartisanship is key. Biden has a proven history of bipartisanship. The fact that John McCain's family is campaigning for him is a very stark example of that. Whereas Trump has absolutely zero skill in bipartisanship. It's probably zero desire too, but he has not shown any ability to reach across the aisle to be my president, to be a president for Democrats as well. He has only been a president to Republicans and only to a sect of Republicans. We need somebody who's going to be a president for all Americans. The only candidate on this ballot to be able to do that is going to be Joe Biden.
All right. There you have it, guys. Thank you so much for an amazing time with you guys and giving us the knowledge for making informed and wise decisions for November 3rd. I hope we're able to help you. And if you think that the show was informative and we did a good job, minus the technical difficulties, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at My F Magazine and follow us here on Facebook and Instagram. I'd like to thank you once again, Attorney Dan Ballecer and Kevin Dang, for joining us. And can we do four screen? And Christina, thank you so much. We have so many comments today. Everyone's on camera right now. Say thank you. Thank you guys, to all our viewers who listened and stay tuned despite the technical difficulties earlier. I thank you very much. We have so much comments here on Facebook. We will be posting this interview on YouTube, edit it, remove all those noise, and add the street interviews done by Iman and Esturco. So watch out for that. So we'll have a better show on YouTube because it's we'll be able to edit this one because this one is live. Anything goes. And again, thank you so much. I don't think we had 300 comments on the Facebook Live page. We appreciate all your questions. There's so much of it, but we're not able to answer and go through everything. For the 100 commenter, the one who commented, number 100, will get $100. I don't know who it is yet. So we'll be able to zoom the money to your account. Just Facebook us, but we'll have to count from the time that the show started. So at exactly 6 p.m. So we'll count from 6 p.m. Not the, or do we include, well, we'll include the very first one who commented. So that's our first. To the 100, we'll get this 100 plus the coach wallet. Thank you to all our sponsors. And again, thank you so much for your time. And have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye. So there you have it, guys. Another episode of F Magazine. Thank you so much for staying with us despite all the technical difficulties we had on our second live show. Whether you're red or blue, whether you're rooting for President Trump or Biden, what matters most is that you're going to go out there and exercise your right to vote on November 3rd. We all love the USA, and whoever wins this election, we're all in this together to better our country, to better our world. Before I end, I just want to go over our fuel of the day, FOTD. So last time we did WOTD. Then I thought of another F word, which is fuel. So this is to fuel our day. And here it is. Our FOTD, fuel of the day. Make today so awesome that yesterday will be jealous. Stay safe, healthy, and happy. Be kind and flourish. Thank you so much. Mabuhay.